I decided to move here because I had an acquaintance who worked for the police department as a dispatcher, and I was looking for a neighborhood. I knew in the city I wasn't going to find the ideal neighborhood, but I wanted him to check out what the crime rate was in this area because I knew this would be my last move. Plus, I have a son who lives about 5 blocks away. So those two things was what decided me to move here. And he advised me that going down Glenwood towards Alhambra, they had quite a few crime reports, but they weren't of a real serious nature. But since then, everything has escalated. Not only has the crime rate gone up as far as murders, but they also understand gangs trying to now infiltrate the neighborhood.
Yeah, you hate to bring up, the negative when you talk about, your business or your area. But I mean, we do have our drug problem. You know where you can walk and where you don't want to walk. I mean, you walk one direction, from Fields, and you have no problems. You can walk, wherever you want. But you walk in other directions, and sorry to say, but you better be looking, where you're walking. You better look both sides and everything else. So you got to know where you're going when you're around here. It's been that way in the 20 years, that I've been here. Now, it was never like that back in the 30s, 40s, probably 50s. It was never like that. And my grandfather used to walk to work, and he lived on McCave, which is probably, gosh, it's down by Loyola on York Road. And he'd walk home at 2 o'clock in the morning and never have a problem.
I see loiterers on the street. I see cars coming from out of the Baltimore area, turning the corner. There's a certain ethnic group that doesn't live in this area. So when you see them constantly turning the corner and coming, circling the block, you've got to suspect that there's something there that they want.
Ethnic group is on the block?
Yeah, it's a lot of young white and middle white people who come in this area, and it's got to be for drugs. There isn't any other reason. I mean, there are no relatives here. There are no businesses on Glenwood. We do have a drug rehab center up the street, but their activity is primarily going towards York Road.
Okay, the neighborhood itself hasn't changed probably in the 20 years as far as the ethnic groups. They're pretty much have been the same since I've been here. Belvedere Square is going through their second makeover since I've been here. It was there once, was doing great, and then for some reason fell off. And now 2 years ago they've just started it back up again, and that's great for the neighborhood. People love Belvedere Square. It's supposed to be doing, great business, and they have a lot more restaurants there than they did originally. Maynard's Market. Now there's a story because Maynard's Market's been here longer than we were. I mean, their building was there. It was a feed store way back in the early 1900s, and turned into a market. The gentleman was there when I came here, and he retired when he was 86 years old. So he came to work every day. I mean, you were able to, to leave doors open on businesses. People could come and go as they wanted. There was no problem. There was, people didn't have the cars that they have, nowadays, and people couldn't get around like they used to. So everything was, neighborhood. You went to places that you lived, that were near where you lived because you couldn't get into a car and go somewhere. So there was more foot traffic, more people. You always saw the same people. I mean, I could walk, into my dad's business, and you could tell, you knew who was going to be there before you walked in the door, and you knew where they were going to be sitting. They all had their bar stools. They all sat in the same place, and it was just because, they were local.